significance of the New Year statement coinciding with Hanukkah?
Not to my knowledge. Welcome, folks, to Rambam. We are learning on the eve of New Year. The Rebbe did say to Rabbi Dr. Nissim Mendel, he said to him on New Year's Eve, I don't know what year it was, he said, I don't know if he said Happy New Year. I maybe he used the words Happy New Year. I don't even know. So he was a little surprised. You know, our new year came already, right? So the Rebbe quoted, and we say it in Shir Amalos, when we bench, do benching. Hashem Yispor b'chsoiv amim. Hashem Yispor. He counts by the accounting of the nations. So there's something to the Gregorian calendar.
Yeah, I remember the Rebbe commenting. Yeah. I didn't know the specifics that you mentioned, but I remember he said.
Yeah. Okay, we are in the laws of Shchenim. Shchenim, neighbors. Laws of neighbors, right? What rights that you have. We learned the laws. Can I open a window in my home, which is juxtaposed to my neighbor, and that I can look into their courtyard now and see, you know, what they're doing there. So the right of privacy is a big thing in Torah law, and you're not allowed to do such a thing, for example. In some instances you can, others, you know, it depends what the details are, but this is what we have learned. Now we speak about planting things next to neighbors. So Chapter 10, halacha number 1, a tree should be planted at least 25 cubits away from a city. A carob tree and a wild fig tree should be planted at least 50 cubits away. So here we're talking about, you know, your fields. We're talking about a city versus your fields that you are now, you know, having fruit trees that you are planting in order to make a livelihood as a farmer, right? So they should be outside of the city, and they have to be 25 cubits away. Regular trees, carob and wild fig trees have to be 50 cubits away. I would imagine because their roots go deeper, and therefore it has to be further away from the city limits. These measures are instituted for aesthetic. He says aesthetic appearance of the city. When trees is found within these distances, it should be cut down. If the tree was planted there before the city expanded to its present size, the inhabitants of the city must pay the owner for his tree, because he has a grandfather clause there. It was there beforehand, right? If there's a doubt concerning the matter, and it is not known which came first, the owner of the tree is not reimbursed. Instead, he must take the tree and depart. Why? Because, you know, the general population takes precedence over a person's individual. Huh?
The good of the many is more important than the good of the few.
Exactly. Halacha number 2. A significantly large threshing floor should be separated from the city at least 50 cubits so that the wind will not carry the straw when the produce is winnowed and cause it harm to the inhabitants of the city. Look at that. Taking care of I guess maybe it's allergenic or something like that. I don't know exactly, but it's obviously not good for the air. Pollution. Right? Winnowing creates some kind of pollution, a pollutant at least, right? So it has to be at least 50 cubits from the city. Wow. We just learned, interesting, right? So we're learning this right now. Based on the Tanya we just learned, So some would say, oh, that's rational. That makes sense. And maybe the same law would be in a civil secular court, but there it would be just rational and just human logic. Here, when we're studying it in the Rambam, it's divine will and wisdom of God. And therefore, by understanding it, and we're understanding it very much surface without going into all of the commentators that explain the Rambam and the root where the Rambam gets it in the Talmud, understanding the debate there in the Talmud, that if there's a debate on the issues, and understanding the debates and the reasoning and everything behind it. All of that is divine will and wisdom of God, that you're bound up with God inherently so through the understanding of that law. As opposed to, if it was just secular, then you would just have added information. I realize I didn't explain that properly. Okay, previously. Similarly, if a person should not make a significantly large threshing floor within his own property unless he owns 50 cubits around it in all directions, so that the straw should not damage the colleague's plants or field that he has left fallow. So the threshing floor can the straw can damage other things. Not only is it a pollutant, but it is also damaging to fields that are left fallow. Animal carcasses, graves, and leather works must be situated at least 50 cubits away from the city. Huh? Cubit is 1.5 feet. This is a cubit, an arm's length. Excuse me a second. Okay. All right, because of the foul smell, that's why you have to remove these, at least the leather works. Number 4, leather works should be positioned only to the east of the city because the east wind is warm and minimizes the harm caused by the odor of the leather making process. Psh. Wow, interesting, huh? Now, of course, this is speaking about in the land of Israel, really, and that's uniqueness. Okay, I would love to continue, but I can't. Fascinating.
Thank you, Rabbi.
How apropos with what we just learned in Tanya, right? So we might think that this is like nice, rational teachings. Not to say that it's not rational, but even if it's rational, it's still the will and wisdom of God. And therefore, when we learn it, the primary thing that we need to appreciate is that we're bound up in one with God through the learning of these laws.